He's got his mother-in-law's in town, so.
Yeah, it's my experience. You ain't got to worry about somebody going away until they do the no call, no show a couple times.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, people that take the time to go. Man, I gotta go masturbate in front of people. They give you an excuse, and they took the time to type. They care,
Right.
Just might not need to ask for pictures or nothing. But
Oh. Oh man. I like. I don't know. I did something on my back. I don't know what I did, but um, my back is so screwed up.
I'm sorry to hear that. Have you been doing yoga or anything?
No, I can't move enough to do yoga.
I mean, not now, but when your back gets unscrewed, do you do exercises or stretchy yoga stuff?
I have some exercises some stretching stuff that I do, and
Right on.
I don't know. I haven't had a problem with my back for, I mean, minor aches and pains, but I mean, it hasn't gone out on me in years. And like all of a sudden last week, I don't even know what I did, but I am fuckered.
I'm really sorry to hear that. I know the back pain sucks.
Oh man, it's just, I mean, I can't really sit. Standing and walking for too long is brutal. I was getting better, but then I got ambitious and did the laundry, and so that really
Oh, man.
screwed me up.
Have you thought about having more kids?
I don't have any kids.
See, there's that. You're missing that child labor.
That's true. That's what my wife
Yeah.
says too. Yeah.
Oh, I love my child labor. My kids are both full adults, and I'll still use the shit out of them. I don't give a damn. Oh, hell yeah. Sure will. I'll cheer them on, just like South Park. Let's
Right.
go, child labor.
Yeah, right.
Let's go, child labor. They'll be telling me to shut up. I don't care.
Okay. Hello, Will. All right.
Hello,
Tonight,
how are
my
you?
gaming. Oh,
I'm doing okay. Just trying to get over a bad back situation.
Yikes.
Yeah, it sucks. But welcome to Deepnight Revelation. We're going to be picking up, or hopefully picking up, where we left off 2 weeks ago. These guys are on their way. Will be coming into Corella, the capital of the Corellan League, which is probably the biggest. I was going to say pocket empire, but it's really not a pocket empire. It is probably the biggest polity in the region, and this is fresh after they found a memorial to a Droin warrior, and through psionic contact, Sarda and Bocephus had a series of really bad dreams, detailing that the Droin, some estimated sometime 300,000 years ago, were also dealing with the Deepnight entity. But before we get started, we'd like to thank a friend of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They're just products that we really like. And tonight we would like to thank the Speechless Bard. She makes beautiful leather products for your tabletop role-playing games, such as covers for your core rule books. She's got a full, if you like to show off your geeky side, she has a full line of dice bracelets that are leather bands with the dice shapes cut out on them, that she can customize them with different colors and metallics and all manner of good things. She has a whole number of things. She is an amazingly talented artist. She does all of the work on her own and by hand, and just amazing work. If you're going to order from her, make sure that you give yourself a little bit of time, especially if it's for a gift or something like that, because she is over in the UK, and so here in the US it can take a little while for it to cross the pond. If you like the show and like the channel and you want to support us, we do have a merch store via Zazzle. We've got some T-shirts, the pirate flag from the Pirates of Dryanax. We've got the Greenwater Guildhall core group shirt, the Wayward Bastards. We've got a fleece blanket that comes in 3 different sizes that is a map of the Glossian Empire from Braunhaven. And then, of course, we have these glorious pins, the pirate flag, and then the Greenwater Guildhall flag. I've got some glare going on there. So yeah, 100% of the proceeds from anything purchased on the store goes directly back into the channel. So check it out, buy a pin. Help us support the channel. So, where we left off, you guys were jumping, and like I said, so over the, and let me, where is my map? That's too far. There we go. So Gar is where you saw or found the memorial, and you know from your dreams and from the carvings on the base of the memorial, you know that, and this was the memorial itself for anybody who missed it. You know that these carvings are a very strange kind of star map, and you know that the droin ship had proceeded on further, and so you figured, you know, kind of your guesstimation of between your dreams and translating this crude droin star map, you have estimated that that they are generally heading in the same direction that you are, and so you have the captain of Deepnight has decided that they're just going to continue on their way, and maybe you'll run across another footprint from these guys. The next stop, of course, is Corella. Now, you are in a region called the Corellan League, and the Corellan League was founded 2,700 years ago, and they claim that they are the oldest polity in the Beyond, and originally parts of Vanguard reaches as well. Or Vanguard sector, and they, over the past 2,700 years, they have shrunk or grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk, and until they are now pretty stable at this size that they're at. And originally, believe it or not, Gar was the capital, and weird things happened. So when I say weird things happened, mostly there was the Aslan that happened. And so the Aslan, there were 12 clans from the Aslan Herate that had sent Ihati in, and in response to that, the Corellan League launched what they called the what was it that they called it? Something like the exploration or expansion missions. Anyways, the goal of these missions was to counter the Aslan threat, and they more or less, I wouldn't necessarily say they succeeded. I would say that it was more or less a stalemate. And a number of things happened. The first was that the Jeremians came in and took over Gar and turned it into the strange religious atmosphere that it is now. And then the other thing that that was major was that there was a they had, or the Corellan League had a core, I guess you could say, knighthood, and these guys ended up splintering off and taking over their own planet and created and founded the Stormhaven Republic. Now, the thing that's interesting about that is that Corella and the Corellan League 2,700 years ago was founded by immigrants from the Sindalian Empire. All these people that decided that the Sindalian Empire was getting too despotic, and the emperor was just kind of insane, and getting each each additional emperor was worse. They decided to leave, and they came here and founded this. And and it's very strange. There are a lot of throwbacks that you notice, like trade ships and things of that manner that are flying banners that that you haven't seen. But when you look it up in history, they have a tie to something from the Sindalian Empire, from the Trojan Reach. And so anybody who has a question of, well, where did a lot of these people go? You guys have the answer. It's right here. And so you come out of jump space in Corella. And this is the Corellan system. So it is a binary star system.
May I take this moment to do shit in jump space?
Yes, you can. What would you like to do?
I would. I've got a dose of the side drug left.
Uh-huh.
I need to be able to break that down and make my own.
Oh, you want to backward engineer it? Is that
Yes, sir.
So, do you have science chemistry?
I do.
Okay. So go ahead and make.
What level that is a great question. So let me. I forgot to bring up my. I was so excited. I got a big old bottle of sake to drink tonight that I didn't have all my shit all out. But okay, you want me to do chemistry and what?
Plus either your intellect or education.
All right.
Probably education. Even those with a high intellect are unlikely to backward engineer a drug.
It doesn't matter. They're the same. Here we go. All right. So this will be in a 2 plus 2. I want to take my time.
Okay.
To make it a plus 4.
Okay.
So there you go.
So in the week that you're in jump space, you are basically, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that you are done with that job. You have basically run it through the centrifuge, and you have isolated the individual components of what makes up this psionic drug at this point. So, yeah. And you've run them through, spectroanalysis, so you know what concentrations there are, and then your next phase, of course, will be experimenting, mixing these compounds together to see if you can recreate it.
Will I be able to use my psychology science in that?
Mm, it could be a task chain. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it could be a task chain.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you. Starting up. I'll sneak shit on Sarda and see if he feels more psionic. He'll enjoy it. It'll be great.
Uh,
So you're dosing me, or are you offering it to me?
Oh well, we haven't gotten to that point yet,
he
so
just
I'm not
gives
sure.
you a straw and a
Yeah.
mirror with some white lines on it. Here, this will increase your psionics.
He reminds me a lot of Dr. Bones from the original Star Trek. Just
Yes.
injecting people without their consent.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm probably always injecting people with stuff. We're going to all these different systems and stuff, and people need to be immunized. I would think, especially on this journey, I would really be, at least doing once a week, sit down talks to everybody, especially while we're out in the different systems and stuff, making sure you're not getting colds or taint rashes, whatever.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know that you'd be doing it every week, but
Regular.
this is I mean, you might be. This is the first part of the trip, and I would say probably you guys are probably at this point, what, a year and a half into this trip, so you probably, during that amount of time, there might be more checks and whatnot than usual, but realistically, that's probably going to drop off. I mean, I can't really believe that would be SOP.
I mean, once a month or something. I mean, is at least, especially if we go off ship, going anywhere. I mean, those people within a week would need at least a.
Well, that, on the other hand, might be SOP. Like, anybody who does any EVA, I mean, maybe not EVA out in space, but if you go down to a planet, I can see anybody that was involved with that would have to be examined.
Yeah, at least checked out a little bit. I mean, not saying we got to look for hernias or.
No, but knowing what you know and what it is that you're ultimately looking for, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I would at least run a scan over everybody often.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, Corella is 1 AU from the primary star, and it has a ring, which is not something you usually see, and I always kind of like the idea.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yes.
It's helpful if you turn on the mic.
Yes. Yes, that's how that usually works, yeah. So, oh, that's interesting. So, the secondary star system is only 4 AU out. That's a little weird. Or, I'm sorry, 2.2 AU out. That's a little weird.
There's a rad world, too.
Yeah, I bet there is. When you have a secondary star that's only 2.2 AU out, and the primary planet's only 1 AU. These maps are dumb. But anyways, I mean, that would create really weird tidal forces. I mean, this planet shouldn't exist. But anyways, so as you can see, Corella, according to the science fiction, Corella is actually a fairly beautiful world. It is fairly Earth-like, or Terran-like. It is a garden world. And when you come into the system, the first thing that you see is a rather large ship. And it is pinging as the where is it? The CLSF Wrath of God. and your sensors are automatically picking up specs on this ship, and this is kind of the deck plan that you are picking up. And I thought...
It's got missiles and torpedoes.
Well, yeah, it's got, well, there's
and
more.
A particle accelerator.
So let's see.
Spinal mount.
Gregor, you are the you're the engineer, right?
Yes.
So these are the stats that is coming up. And this is what this thing looks like. 50,000 tons. So it's not too much smaller than Deepnight Revelation. This is definitely a cruiser class warship. But I will allow Gregor, you can make, or I'm sorry, not Gregor.
Sarda?
No, Randolph.
Yeah.
So Randolph, you can make a make an engineering plus intellect or education check, and you get to make that with a boon. So roll 3 and take the 2 highest.
Hold on a second. Oh boy, I finally get a good modifier. Well, see, first time we got a 13, and the next time we got a 15.
Okay, well, that still is enough to make it. So what you realize with this, looking over the specs that are coming up, and it's all this ship. Your passive sensors, you haven't even really started doing any active sensors yet. It's like this ship is actually sending you the data. Their active sensors are on, and it registers as ACRUX heavy cruiser, the CLSF Wrath of God. You're looking this thing over, Randolph, and you realize that it's a big ship, but it is from compared to Deepnight Revelation, it is a very dated ship. Even though this ship's fairly brand new. And when I say that it's dated, you look at this technology and you say to yourself that the ACRUX heavy cruiser would be the apex of ship technology from the first Imperium.
Oh wow, that's been a while.
Yes. Yes.
Just a little while.
Yes. And so, but this is their standard cruiser, and the
engines are TL8.
Right. The Wrath of God hails the Deepnight Revelation and welcomes you to the Corella system and the Corellan League. And you guys are still a ways out. Probably, let's see, what is your thrust? Deepnight Revelations thrust is thrust 4. So yeah, you're probably a day and a half out from making it to Corella. And the captain of Wrath of God welcomes. They do know that they recognize an Imperial ship. They know about the Imperium. It's not like they're not Neanderthals. They know that the Imperium exists. But the captain of Wrath of God invites the captain and command crew over for dining with the captain of Wrath of God.
So is Sarda our comms guy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is Sarda our comms guy, or is he just scans?
Scanning and jump drive when that comes up.
So
I have skill in comms, but I
I've
think
got comms
better.
1.
I've got comms of 0, which gives me a +1 to roll. Because my education's high enough to give me a bonus of 1.
Right, yeah, I'll get a +2 then, because I've got good education too. But I mean, really, I think they've probably got people on their bridge that are handling all the comms and shit.
They are,
Yeah.
but I mean, if there's something specific that you guys want to do, what was your idea with comms?
I think we were just gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. What my idea with comms? Go ahead, man.
I was wondering, who's doing comms and going to accept this dinner?
Oh well, I mean, it's coming into the bridge. I mean, there's some lackey that's manning the bridge console.
Yeah, I'll speak up and volunteer to. We could take the Driznecks and probably get there a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
Take the captain with us.
Well, I mean, Wrath of God, of course, would just pull up alongside and extend a docking collar and dock with Revelation.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, both ships.
Two big ships.
Yeah, both ships are heading in the same direction. They're both heading for the primary planet, so or main world, as it were. So, I mean, there's really no need to take auxiliary craft.
We might as well bring the combat hand to hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josephus can inject them with something.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a
Be
peaceful.
sure to bring your psychedelic liquor.
I will bring a good choice. I've been making this alcohol and kind of dishing it around to the crew, just to keep them in good spirits. Get it? And
I see what you did there.
Yeah, but I will take a choice batch. That I thought was particularly good.
Okay.
Bring it with me. Maybe a tuna and peach flavored.
Don't forget, you do have in your stores. You have those exceptional luxury items that the Duke of Tobiah left you with as a thank you. You've got, fine wines, Virginian whiskey. I mean,
those.
Do they have
those
any scotch?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's scotch in there. I mean, there's champagne, there's whiskey, there's scotch, there's cheese. I mean,
maybe we'll make a gift basket.
Yeah, that
We need to make sure it matches the food.
Some little flowers and shit in it. Maybe some beads.
We need to have them send over the menu so we can match the food.
Get Gabriel to write a poem.
He'll do it with a knife clenched between his teeth in his underwear.
Of course.
Oh no, he does it commando.
Yes, completely commando.
That's probably just his casual, wear as he goes about the ship is.
Yes.
And I assume we're wearing our ship dress for this. Dress uniforms.
I would imagine. I mean, you've been invited to the captain's table of a foreign polity. I guess that would, if anything, that would probably denote dress uniform.
Oh hell yeah, we got to dress up.
Wear the scratchy, a little bit tighter than it should be uniforms.
I get to have the medics dress.
So did anybody else have anything that they wanted to say or any ideas? I mean, you're making a food basket, which I think is an excellent idea, personally.
Yeah, I meant some cheese, wine, some hallucinogenics.
Some mild hallucinogenics. Hallucinogenics.
Well, I've got the alcohol produces a
So
mild
what's the law level of this planet?
That is an excellent question.
That means we definitely need to drink the illegal shit before we get to the planet.
That is a good question. I will look right now. Let's I'm still over. There we go, Corella. Still over at Gore from Wednesday night's game.
Oh yeah, fighting a fire.
Yeah, well, you will be. Yeah. So
Or
Corella.
maybe we'll ignore it.
I think the best option is just to bomb it.
So
Use
Corella
explosives.
has a standard tech level of 13 and a law level of 5.
That's not too bad.
No, law level of 5 is pretty moderate, to be honest. Here we go. Law level of 5. Personal concealable weapons are banned. Of course, light assault weapons and submachine guns, military weapons, portable energy and laser weapons, poison gas, explosives, undetectable weapons, WNDs, and mesh, cloth, flak, combat armor, and battle dress.
So I can't wear cloth.
Well, here again, so if you have cloth the next step up is, in quotes, all visible armor. So if you have cloth armor, and we know from the new, it's been said and heavily implied previously, but now with the new Central Supply Catalog 2023 update, we know that you can get cloth armor that is just, a jacket or a trench coat or things of that nature. That wouldn't be considered visible.
I have a Dippo vest and a cloth jacket, so.
Then you're fine. Then you would be fine.
But what would I use for a gun?
I would say that a service pistol with dress armor. I mean, you're not really a military mission, so I don't know. Anybody else have any?
I have some plain old auto pistols, but.
so Jack's still carrying a concealed deck. I mean, I don't know. This is supposed to be.
I'm not even bringing a weapon. I'm just going. I'm not even wearing armor.
Whenever I think of dress armor, I think of military, and so a service pistol and maybe a dress sword or possibly a knife is acceptable, but since this is an exploration mission, I don't know. I guess that should be left up to you guys. What do you think?
I think that whoever is the best with the slug, we'll call them our security guy, and part of their uniform and tradition is that they carry a sidearm.
I think I'll carry the regular ship revolver.
A snub pistol at the very least, but if we're allowed to wear pistols on the side, hell, I'll try to wear my gauze pistol. See how it works out.
Can't have gauze, but
why not?
Pistols,
it's a beautiful pistol. I keep it
clean.
There's
the law level allow gauze.
It's just a pistol.
I'm just wearing Diplo vest and no weapon.
Yeah, I've got a Diplo vest.
So portable energy and laser weapons would be banned. Light assault weapons and submachine guns. Man, I don't know. And military weapons. I mean, I don't know if a Gauss pistol would
count as that or not. I'm just going to take the regular ship revolver for officers.
Yeah, for like Gabe says, a formal dinner while under arms seems a bit odd. I mean, yeah, that's a little weird. But I mean, if you guys have got like a dress sword, or I don't know. I mean, if Jack would be your military scout type, security. So I mean, of course he might have a pistol. But it's up to you guys.
Yeah,
I don't know what you want to set up for SOP for procedure. I mean, what do you want your dress uniform to entail?
Would we be able to do a body pistol? That's illegal on the planet.
Yeah, that would be illegal on the planet. That would count as a personal concealable weapon.
Man, we've got to trust that our ship has our back, and we're not. I mean, it's not like we're gonna take over their ship or nothing.
Well, right.
I mean,
And they're
Yeah,
welcoming you. So
Yeah.
So
So what?
if you've got an expandable shield, they're actually weapons. They do a D6.
mm,
Yeah.
And so you might be able to get away with an expandable shield.
I
and
would
then
think
just
so.
Shield bash people with it if things get bad.
yeah,
Man, I'm
I would
wearing-
think the
yeah.
primary purpose of an extendable shield would be defensive in nature.
Oh, you're right. But all of the shields except for the large shield are listed as doing damage.
Right.
They can
Yeah.
use shield bash.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
if your back's completely up against a wall, pop the shield and start beating people with it.
Right.
Yeah. We I don't think we're gonna need any weapons,
Okay.
so I'm not bringing any.
Okay.
I mean, as far as if you're wanting a standard, I mean, our standard is we're gonna try to bring guns almost every time we go anywhere, and if the circumstance doesn't call for us to bring
Well, and
guns or like this where it's kind of a bad form to come in rocking in with assault rifles and shit to
Right,
a
right.
captain's dinner. Then I mean,
I'll just bring my flame rifle.
yeah. I mean, really, I don't think any of us should bring guns. We should just go like we're going to
How
dinner.
about a stunner? Let me-
Yeah.
But I
how
mean,
about a stunner?
even up to the modern age, it is not. When you look at monarchies in the modern world today, it is not unusual to see somebody in a dress uniform with, a service pistol in a holster and a sword,
sword.
and then a fruit
Maybe.
salad on their chest.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm not bringing any weapons. I'm a medic. I'm bringing a med kit.
Okay, whole bunch of
With your
Tums. And,
syringes.
Yeah, bringing a bunch of drugs.
yep, bunch of Tums and
Tums and
Pepto-Bismol,
acid.
yeah.
Yeah, hell yes.
So I do think
Tylenol.
it's funny that you say that your guys' SOP is that whenever you're leaving the ship, usually you're going to be packing a gun. And the reason why I think that that's funny is because out of all of my groups, you guys, even if you're armed, are the least likely to draw. Like, most of my other groups are like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna just pull out a gun and start shooting." And you guys are just not like that.
But
And-
when it comes
And
time,
I
yeah,
reach over and
yeah.
wafer in a advocate wafer.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
has anybody got diplomat?
That would be a good one.
I got 0.
Hey, that's better than not having it at all.
Diplomat is going to be key on this.
And advocate, I now have 2.
You know,
The difference between 0 and a -3 could be an international incident.
that's correct.
So you guys, the two ships dock, and you go over for your dinner. I kind of like these new deck plans because this ship is huge, and so they really took a very general outlook for how they were going to do the deck plans. But it's somewhere over in this area here where the captain's private mess is, and they have this long table set up, and the captain's chef is delivering foods, or it is a full 7-course meal, and he who is handing the food basket.
I'll hand it. I'm fine with that.
So he accepts it and thanks you profusely. He says, "It's been a while since I've been able to enjoy the some of the finer goods from the Imperium." And everybody
Well,
is
now,
seated.
This bottle here, and I'll kind of tap the top of it, is my own personal brew, and I suggest that you enjoy it when you have plenty of personal time to really relax. It is not your run of the mill Starport
It's going to make you trip balls.
shenanigans. There, that is a Dr. Bo Cephas.
Cure all.
Yeah, there's one. it'll bring your mental health to a totally different level.
So you guys are seated. This goes over very well, and you learn a couple of things about Corella. In addition to basically in just conversation with the captain, the first thing that you learn is that there is an Imperial embassy on Corella. Well, technically not on Corella itself, but on the orbital habitat that they use as their capital. And so he says that you should feel at home here. The other thing that you learn is that so their form of government is generally considered to be a republic, but the weird thing is that most of the world is run by multi-world conglomerate corporations. And all of these corporations are run by great houses that are essentially nobles, as you would know them in the Imperium, in all but name. They don't have noble titles here. But some of the names that are coming up, one of the names in particular for one of these great houses is House Petrovsky. And this name has come into the news fairly recently as you were passing up the Dust Belt in this direction. When you pass through the Trojan Reach, that this name, there is a Petrovsky, Dame Coraline Petrovsky, has attached herself to the kingdom of Drenax, and she claims lineage back to the Sindalian Empire. And part of her reason for attaching herself to the kingdom of Drenax is basically a self-searching kind of ego trip, in that she basically just wants to find out where she came from. And it was pretty public news that it appeared that House Petrovsky was one of the or Duke Petrovsky at the time during the Sindalian Rebellion, was one of the people, kind of the first shot that was fired. He defied the Emperor, and that's kind of when the shit hit the fan, kind of thing. And a lot of people kind of view the Duke Petrovsky as I don't want to, kind of like a figurehead, kind of a hero kind of person. You can also look at it as, well, if he would have shut his mouth, maybe there wouldn't have been a whole bunch of nukes dropped and a whole bunch of biological weapons. So it really depends on which direction you want to go. But the House Petrovsky is one of the major great houses. Now, the other weird thing about this is that the heads or representatives of these great houses actually have seats on the Senate. And so, in that, you learn that there is, and I don't want to call it a caste system, because it's not really a caste system, but it is. So these 99% of the people that live in the Corellan League aspire to one day becoming or joining one of these great houses, and that's really the only way that you have any chance of true upward mobility. I mean, you can only go so far, and then if you're not going to be made part of one of these great houses, either through marriage or or adoption sometimes, or some other extraordinary type event, then you're just other people. And so a lot of people, or most of the population, that is their aspiration, is to join this top 1% and be in these great houses. Now, the entire league and especially Corella itself, has a mandated built-in welfare system that the people voted on. And so there is a monthly stipend that every citizen gets. You don't have to have a job. You get a monthly income from the government no matter what. And I mean, it costs, if you look at the size of the Corellan League, it costs the government tons of money to pay all these people, because there's like 7.5 billion people living in the Corellan League across multiple planets. And so it costs a ton of money to afford this. And but the people are happy for the most part. Just most of them wish that they could be a part of the great houses so that they could be considered rich or at least upper class.
Does he happen to know of any drone? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Droin?
Little wing, yeah, droin. Sorry, the little wing chirpy guys. Does he happen to know of any of those sites or artifacts or archaeological sites, anything like that?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know of any archaeological sites, and certainly, I mean, they've run across. The Corellan League is big enough. They've run across some very interesting archaeological oddities. They're not sure that anything would be considered like ancient site, for instance, but they have found other things that they're still kind of their archaeologists and scientists are still trying to determine, who were these people, where did they come from, that kind of thing. They don't have any firm answers. He does tell you, and he is fully aware of, everybody knows about Droin, that there are occasional Droin trade ships that come through. And he makes the side comment that they are strange buggers, aren't they? And he he says that I do know that there are a number of cloisters of chirpers. Now, nobody's been able to confirm one way or the other that chirpers and Droin are related, but they sure as hell seem like they are. And so he says that there are a number of worlds in the region that have chirper enclaves on them, small communities, but nothing like what you're describing.
Yeah, I am. It is our understanding that we are kind of mimicking a voyage that took place. What is it? 100,000 years ago?
300,000 years.
300,000 years ago, of some highly advanced drawing. And so if they left any signs or anything like that, I'd be interested to know. But the current, poking about of them is, I don't think that would apply to what we are looking for.
So when you bring that up, he says, so you found the memorial on Gar.
That we did, yes.
Says, yeah, that is it's very interesting. It is a very old site, but we never really thought anything. Nobody that I know or scientists or anything never thought anything really of it. It's an old drawing memorial to something. Clearly venerating this dead warrior, but beyond that, we had no real knowledge of any importance related to it.
I don't think I'm at liberty to tell the story, really, am I?
Well,
are we still hiding the fungus and all of that?
I don't know. I mean,
I think we are.
This is a big nation. I mean, he is
independently decided that discovered it.
Well, he's a naval captain. I'm sure that anything that you would tell him, he's going to quietly pass to his higher ups, and they're going to want to squash it and make sure that the public doesn't find out. because
Well,
this kind of
yeah.
thing is going to cause a panic.
But we are trying to do a mission, and so I mean, we need to. I guess we need to decide. Right now as a crew, are we going to play shut the fuck up, or are we going to be open and honest and see if that gets us leads or whatever? I mean, in theory, if this government buys our story that we're chasing a fucking ancient fungus from across the fucking galaxy, I mean, they might have things that could help us or information that could help us. Or they could be agents of this fucking fungus, and they could become hostile to us. It can work a number of ways. But
They're all fungus among us.
before one of us just goes and starts talking about this shit, I think it's fair that we as a crew kind of decide on how we want to approach that.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, the standard policy is, of course, that you keep it to yourselves, but that was assuming that you were still in the Imperium when you were not.
Yeah, I think we should be open and honest and just discuss shit with any type of captain or official that we come in contact with on these new governments, and see how it plays out.
I think we should play it down, and if we're going to do anything, we just ask if they have any strange fungal activity going on instead of get too involved.
Have you guys had a lot of cases of jock itch?
Zombies?
Yeah, yes, jock itch leading to zombies. I mean, anything like that going on? So yeah, are you? The first thing, I want you guys to all make a Recon plus Intellect check.
To see if Deep kills somebody tonight. You said a Recon and Intellect?
Yes. Well, look at that. All right, well, nothing gets past you guys. So, has everybody seen the classic Battlestar Galactica episode where I think it was called Ice Planet Zero, where they're on the ice planet and they meet an enclave of clones? Everybody see that?
And that's what we got here.
Okay, so so you notice that there are a number of servants that come in. They're all dressed the same, and it's a very odd uniform. They're all wearing like a white shirt, and they have like a gray with an orange stripe coveralls, and they're wearing this stupid looks like a paperboy hat, but the brim has been unbuttoned, so it's kind of poofy. And then you realize that the people on Bocephus and Jack's side of the table, or the guy serving on Bocephus and Jack's side of the table, is the same guy on the opposite side of the table serving Randolph and Sarda. When you look down the table, and you see that there are another couple of servants that are serving the table, and they look exactly the same too. These are all clones. And they're more or less treated by the crew of of the Wrath of God like you would treat a robot.
Well, there's no point in getting involved in all this.
Your guys' racial tensions is your problem. We're not going to be here long enough to give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a huge societal problem. We're going to be here in a week.
Yeah, like 3 days. We're not going to fix it.
I'm here to, maybe here to get a few drinks, go shopping.
Problem in 3 days.
maybe pick up some of your women and breed with them, and then move along. Not really trying
you're gonna
have
enhance
a racial
the gene pool there,
Well,
Well, and
how else
the
supposed
strange
to
thing
have
that
good
you notice
swimmers?
is that not only, I mean, they treat these clones kind of like you guys would treat robots. Not that you treat robots badly, but they treat these
As if
people
they're non-entities.
right, like they are a utility. And it's strange because when you docked, you noted that there are a number of robots also working on the ship. So it's like they have supplemented their robotic workforce with cloning. It's very odd. Or at
Well,
least
they
it's
make
odd to
great
you guys.
pets. You know,
That's a pretty high tech level.
Cloning is a high tech level, so they've
It's like
exceeded it.
13.
Yeah, they've exceeded their tech level in some ways, and then in others, like clearly in their ship design.
right? Well, I mean, we can inquire about it, I guess. I mean, we'll
That's
ask the
entirely up to
captain.
you guys. I mean, like I said, if you guys aren't going to be here long enough to really give a shit, but that's
Uh,
just something that you've observed.
right,
Maybe
well,
the
he can
doctor would
ask.
notice that and ask for a DNA sample.
Well,
I can be seditious in that I've been collecting entertainment in terms of videos and holovids
Yeah,
and stuff
you
like
have.
that from all over, and so I can offer trade. Trade some of these videos from other areas for local videos and include a few fairly seditious. The Star Trek episode where the guy that's split in black and white, left
Yes.
and right. Make sure there's a few of those, that have, sort of.
His hand
Go
this guy
into
hand one of them a thumb drive, like, here, buddy, this is for you.
just general entertainment videos, but make sure that there's several that are very pointedly anti-racist in messaging.
I
Yes.
suppose you could use the next generation anti-android.
Sure,
well,
sure.
we can ask
I'm
the guy.
just saying that. I'm
like,
just saying that it's probably.
are y'all human? I mean, y'all look human, but many of you look alike, and that suggests that you spawned from the same.
So,
clutch.
yeah, the guy serving you, he says, "Oh, we are human. We're Theta class clones." And
Oh.
the captain intercedes, and he says that the Corellan League uses force-grown clones to supplement our workforce.
That sounds like a tremendous idea. I'd be interested in talking to one of your doctors about this cloning technology. Perhaps I could offer some insight into some other
It says,
fields of the medical science. I'm a very well-founded doctor.
and he says, "Well, the ship's doctor is actually sitting right across the table from Bocephus," and he says, "Oh, well, as an example, doctor, we have nearly." We have nearly ended, things such as heart disease, some form like lung cancer. Depends if we can catch it early enough.
Yes, of
Kidney
course, it's always
disease,
that
liver disease, things of that nature, because we can clone you and force grow the clone and extract those organs and replace the bad ones in your body with new ones.
So you have an exorbitant amount of bio reaction chambers?
Well, no, they have clone vats. It's a huge industry.
How much would one of these how hard would it be to get a clone vat? Oh, that sounds like a wonderful thing to have around the ship.
He says, "Well, I'm sure that I can put you in contact with one of the medical companies. I mean, you are a doctor, and your credentials could be verified through the Imperial Embassy. I wouldn't see that there would be a problem with purchasing something of that nature."
Oh, well, As wonderful. I'll ask him some questions like, well, is there some kind of, do you have a problem with the genetic pool, depleting or getting weak, or, how many times over can you use a certain DNA sample in your cloning? And I'll throw in some more really deep medical fucking questions that somebody that has a medical would be able to toss out there.
Well, the doctor said, well, naturally, you wouldn't want to go so far as to, like, clone another clone. And he says, because then you start getting into that situation of, it's almost like interbreeding, where sooner or later, 2 or 3 down the line, you're gonna start getting
genetic.
Yeah, you're gonna start getting genetic oddities. And he says, it's similar to making a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Sooner or later, it's not going to look that great.
I understand. Do you guys, over time, as you do your cloning, do you just add DNA, maybe splice a little DNA in there or something, manipulate it or something?
We have strict cloning laws that don't allow us to manipulate the DNA. It has to be a direct copy. And the first officer speaks up and he says, well, the entire thing is not without its controversy. And the captain kind of interrupts and says, well, we don't want to bore our guests with that. And
I'm very interested in how you guys think.
The first officer,
you all matter to us.
The first officer goes on to say that that there is some groups of activists, that there are protests trying to end the cloning industry as we know it. They're and the captain says, they're a bunch of bleeding hearts. The clones are fine. And he looks at the captain. He looks at the one of the servant clones. He says, we provide for you. You're happy, aren't you? And the clone says, yes, I find myself quite happy here. And he says, see, they're perfectly fine.
I was totally satisfied into that. Well, I bet you could cut the head off a catfish and fuck its corpse, and nobody would say anything to tell you couldn't.
The clone kind of looks at you weird, like he's never seen a catfish, so he doesn't know what that is.
He doesn't know what that is, and you eat them, both pieces.
Well, no, I mean, if you've ever handled a catfish, you definitely would want to cut the head off first. I mean, just those little teeth. Oh God.
Yeah, and the barb and the slimy skin.
Yeah, and they got that spiky tail. You got to be careful when you're doing, fish fucking.
Nail the head to the wall.
The captain looks at both Stevens and says, man, the wildlife on your world sounds deadly, and you eat that?
Every day, every day.
So
we love aquatic.
Did you guys have any direct questions about Corella or the League? I mean, they pretty much told you. Now, the doctor kind of sends a message, a little direct message over to Bocephus's Mobicom, so your wristwatch lights up, and it is a contact, a medical Petrovsky Medical Corporation that can put you can tell you more. The sales rep can tell you more about the purchase cost of a clone vat kind of situation.
Oh hell yeah! What kind of numbers is it talking about?
15 million credits.
Well, Deepnight Revelation has deep pockets.
That it does.
And if I could clone crew members, that would be a way to ensure that, crew members never go away. I have to retrain them,
So a cloning vat, actually a cloning vat is only tech level 13. And it will run you 1.5 million credits.
Ooh.
1.5 mega credits.
Well, I'll have to have a conversation with the captain or the ship's purser or maybe work something out with the local government when we get down there.
If we get schematics, is it something we could build on our own later?
Possibly. Let's see. It's actually considered a robot, and it comes with Medic 2 and Science Biology 3. Some reason it's armored. Just in case, I guess.
Why not?
Whatever.
Well, you never know what the protesters are going to get into.
That's right.
Green vat terminology.
That's right. And it has an auditory sensor bioreaction chamber, 50 slots advanced, drone interface fabrication chamber, 8 slots enhanced, a med kit enhanced, spare slots times 20. So, you can plug stuff into it. Storage compartment, 2 slots. Storage compartment, 10 slots refrigerated. Transceiver, 5 kilometers improved. Vacuum environment protection. Visual spectrum sensor, voter speaker, and a wireless data link. And this is tech level 13.
Yeah, man, we got to get one.
It is on page 152 of the robot handbook.
Unfortunately, I only have 100,000 credits.
Well, like you said, you could go to the administrators of the ship of Deepnight and say, hey, make your case.
I'm definitely you're gonna have to figure out what the fuck I need to roll, but I'm gonna make my case to somebody.
Well, I would say that would be probably an admin check if you wanted to bypass them and see if you could get, once you get to the embassy, you could talk to somebody at the Imperial Embassy and say, hey, we think we could use this for our mission. That would be either an admin or a diplomat plus intellect or education check.
I've got some admin skills. We'll see how it plays out. I'll let things to move on until I get a chance to, this is a dinner. Sarda hasn't talked a lot.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Do we already have equipment for refurbishing our water filters and oil filters and pneumatic filters? And
yes. We have fabrication chambers that we can make anything we want.
Well, not only that, but the ship itself.
I'm talking about refabbing the air filters and stuff like that.
Yes.
And CO2 scrubbers and things like that. Yeah.
No, we'll have to eventually stockpile our raw material source for both the medical end of the reaction stuff, where I grow organs or new species, or even with these cloning vats, we'll still have to provide raw materials for the clone to grow in, and then
that's the strangest looking beer I've ever seen.
This is Gatorade.
And then with the reaction chambers, we just have to provide a cost, or we have to come up with raw materials for it to make things. But I've invested in the small scale stuff, and the ship itself is invested in a lot. And we can make an awful lot of shit. Shopping should not be one of our main concerns.
But
we should be making our shit.
The major components of the ship, repair items. Yes, Revelation has workshops that have fabrication facilities for making things like CO2 scrubbers, air filters. In fact, if something aboard the ship breaks, in a lot of cases, they can replace parts by fabricating new parts. The biggest part of that is, finding raw resources. Of course, anytime that you would come across some kind of mineral strike, it's a good idea to extract it if you can, because that's infinitely useful and it will always be used aboard ship. It's almost as important, almost equally important to finding food. So, any other requests or questions while sitting at dinner with the captain?
Yeah, I'd like to find somebody who could make me a rapier and an antique pistol so I can deck out my service uniform.
I can do any of that if you when we get back to our ship.
That's true. I mean, and so the captain, he says, well, there are. He says, I don't know about antique. I know that we have some. There is a large replica industry that functions throughout Corella, and you might contact one of them.
Is it Sudarian replicas?
A lot of it is, yeah. I mean, they've got like Sindalian. They make replica Sindalian officers' pistols, replica dress swords, things of that nature. So, see that Jack is typing something.
You don't have any questions, Sarda?
I think my main thing would be to make sure people get shore leave.
So yes, the captain assures you that I mean, he can't, of course, speak for the capital, but he is pretty sure that you guys will get shore leave down on Corella. And he tells you, he says, it is a absolutely magnificent world. He says, I've been to a lot of planets, and it is beautiful. A lot, almost as much as 2/3 of the entire planet is sanctioned as wildlife preserve, untouched.
Oh.
And so,
are we allowed to get samples of these different wildlifes and their DNA?
Yeah, I mean, it is a tourist mecca.
That's great.
So yeah, I mean, you should be able to go down there and have at it.
Do they allow hunting?
They do. In fact, hunting is mandated because they have to. They have to
control the population.
They have to control the populations, and it is mandated year by year by their government, determining what species are kind of getting out of control, and so they issue tags. And this year it might be one type, and then next year it might be another.
Is it
type.
hard to get tags? Are people from out of system allowed to get tags and go hunt?
He says that shouldn't be an issue.
Oh. What about fucking? I mean, some places, talking about, don't want to have any kids, and other places might want you to register before you can breed with a certain person. And I'm a very promiscuous species, and I believe that we should all just touch each other. But other people don't believe that way. And I didn't want to offend you when I got to planet if I picked up.
No, there's no specific laws on fornication. I mean,
would you be interested
usual
in having a ship-to-ship mixer with our ship and your ship, and we could dance and drink a lot?
You mean an orgy, sir?
No. If it gets to that level between people that's purely consensual, we're talking about music and dancing and alcoholic drinks and hors d'oeuvre-like snacks.
He says, I don't believe we'll have time for that. As soon as we get to the orbital habitat, we will be, of course, receiving new orders. But you have actually arrived at a opportune time. This is so every year, representatives from all over the Corellan League come to the capital here, to the orbital habitat, so that they can basically have their yearly referendum, and votes are made and laws are made, and
music festivals and carnivals.
Well, no, but he's there will be more people than usual on the orbital habitat, and
that sounds fun.
My name is Jack. I'm a necrophilia. Well, if he gets a cloning vat,
hey man, I'll grow them. You can kill them and fuck them, Jack. As long as you let me do a minor experiment here and there, I can make that happen.
So,
Jack's having some odd reactions to the previous adrenaline drugs that I've given him. Yeah.
yes. So, so dinner kind of goes on, and you all return to your ship, and and so you all return to your ship, and you like I said, about a day and a half later, you come up on orbit of Corella. And this is the orbital habitat in orbit around Corella. This is essentially their capital. And originally, they had, and I forget where the other one was, but they had, it might have been back at Gar, but they had another orbital habitat back when that world was considered their capital. And it kind of, they outgrew it. And so that particular orbital habitat has now been kind of turned into a museum. And, but you've been told that you're not really missing anything. It's rather run down. And this is really, like you said, this is an opportune time. And as you're approaching, you see that there is a lot of traffic. There is a lot of ships, all manner of different vessels coming and going. A lot of them are trade ships, etc. And so you are contacted, of course, by...
Are those subsidized traders?
I believe they are. Now these over here are actually so they have a standard frame that they use for all of their small craft, and it's called the Gideon light frame. And so like this is their heavy fighter, and it looks just like some of their other ships. And then there is, of course, this is the Griffin heavy fighter. This is the Gaja strike boat. And I mean, from outside appearance, you would look at these and you might not be able to tell too much of the difference. Well, like the Gaja assault boat is generally used, of course, for landing Marines or chasing down ships. It's also used for customs work. I mean, there's just no reason to reinvent the wheel with that. But so that's what those triangular shaped craft are. I'm not sure what these up here are. Those are quite large, but yeah. And there's a couple of scouts down here, and but yeah, there is a lot of traffic going on here, and and you are radioed by the embassy, which is on this world or on this orbital habitat, that you can, as soon as you have docked, come to the embassy. You will be given passes, and you have been cleared, assuming that your captain is okay with it. You have been cleared for shore leave down on the surface.
As the ship's counselor, I will advise the captain that it's highly advisable to let as many people go enjoy themselves as possible.
How long will we have for shore leave?
So the captain is saying, standard for you guys is generally 3 days. He wants to refuel and get back onto the mission.
Our last one got cut short. I suggest at least a week.
Well, and that is kind of his point too. So the captain agrees that shore leave is a very good idea because previously, when you were on Sastry, that whole thing went pear-shaped, but here the captain is much more comfortable. There is an Imperial embassy here. This government seems a lot more, normal, not on the edge of psychotic, like Sastry was. Um, there's no signs telling you how to properly use your toilet paper. And so,
which is a great problem.
Huge,
everybody
enormous.
should have laws on how to use their toilet paper.
I agree. I mean, so yeah, he's fine with giving you guys shore leave, or giving the entire crew shore leave for that matter. And he tells the XO to go ahead and set up a shift system so that obviously some of the crew has to be here during refueling operations as well as maintenance. So
yeah, that's what I was actually interested in, was that rather than just say we have 3 days of shore leave, I like the idea of shifts, because I think that we shouldn't send people down without someone kind of being in a security medic. Like if groups want to go hunting, send 5 people hunting, but send them with a medic and send them with someone who's doing security, and then those people give them a chance at their own shore leave later. You know what I mean?
Right.
So so kind of figure out what activities people want to do, divide them up based on those activities, and send 1 or 2 people with each group whose sort of job is to be the sober one, that's sort of making sure that everybody who gets drunk,
the designated driver.
Yeah. So so that you've got like a medic and a security person who's sort of, their whole job is kind of babysit those groups that are on shore leave, and then make sure that they get a shift at shore leave themselves with their own minders later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you volunteer to be the designated driver on the opening night, then you're guaranteed to have a designated driver for the other 2 nights.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't. I'm worried about people just going bug wild.
Right.
Yeah. And if you are a designated driver, that counts as your shift on the ship. So,
right.
Yeah. So you get to kind of party, but you can only do just the tip. You can't go all the way in.
So you come onto this orbital habitat, and you realize the concourse, of course, is like any other Class A starport that you've ever been in. But there's a number of shops, there's restaurants. Everything here seems rather upscale. The clientele, of course, being that this is the capital of their government, and most of the capital of their government is in that 1%. So they are catering to rich people. So you don't just have a place selling handbags. No, it's Gucci handbags. And Versace handbags. There's just row after row of expensive shops and restaurants. There is like a nightclub, and but even that nightclub is bougie, and so you go to the embassy, you get your passes, and essentially, there's a line of your crew are heading to the embassy to get their passes.
Is there somebody at the embassy that can handle more delicate conversations?
Of course. Keep in mind that the embassy, well, no, they would probably be aware that you were showing up, because there was a fleet that came through here heading for Denman, which is your kind of your starting point. That's your start point of going into the Great Rift, and that's where you are ultimately heading right now.
Right.
And so, yeah, they would know that you were coming. They
would probably know exactly when, but
they probably wouldn't know when, and I don't necessarily know. I don't know that they would know the full why. They may know the press package.
Well, I'm hoping they have somebody here that can take our report in confidence and deliver it to the powers that be, back where we originated from.
Oh, certainly.
Get that kind of going back that way.
Yes, and they have access to, and they have access to courier ships, like naval courier ships. The ones that have jump 4. They do have access to courier ships. Not very frequently. Like a courier ship may show up every 6 months or so. Sometimes it's maybe once a year.
It's still a lot faster. Still a lot faster than us using the radio.
Yes, that is true.
They'll report back home well before we will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truth. That is the truth.
So yeah, I guess I need to go ahead and start formulating a report. Want to include everything about the droid parallel mission that they had.
Okay.
And anything else anyone else thinks we might need to include specifically,
If we reported about the runes and what was been figured out and how our friend helped us translate it.
Right.
The wizard.
Yes, the wizard. Yes.
I mean, I don't see a point in line. By the time we get back, either we'll be fucked or we'll be heralded as heroes. So.
Or dead.
Or dead.
No, that's not an option. I have.
Well, you guys are leaving out
powers.
Missing as an option.
Yeah, I'm very well at avoiding a TPK. I'm just saying, you all might be making new characters, but I can regenerate.
So, does anybody else want to make a report to send back? I mean, this is.
I'm hoping we all included in all.
This isn't your last chance, but
anyone with admin skill or something else should participate in this because we can do a task chain and a bad roll.
I've got admin. I can. Admin.
All right. Well, you need to talk about something, Randy.
Damn it, Randy.
I know that we were having our scientists do testing on the soil of that one planet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they came up with anything that we could produce as a report that might, trickle back.
We sure can send some samples.
Well, I mean, we took samples. Our scientists were actually trying to work on those.
Well,
samples.
I mean, you guys took some samples. You're talking about the melted landscape around the Droid Memorial, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking actually back when we picked up Mr. Wizard, we took samples of their soil there because they had problems with.
Did we take samples of the planet with the observatory as well?
Yeah, we did.
I think we did. Yeah.
I mean,
we've
we have
samples
3 or 4
because we know we've
samples.
got a whole shitload of scientists that are bored silly, and so we're trying to basically keep them busy.
Right.
And so we're taking samples and we're giving them problems to work on that we could hypothetically provide reports that may trickle back to those systems and help them in the future. And so if they came up with anything, that might help those systems, this would be a good place to drop the report off. We've got an embassy here. Anybody that's traveling to this embassy is probably going to be heading back towards the Imperium, and we'll head back through those systems possibly.
True.
So this would be an opportunity to basically provide assistance if we've come up with any solutions for them that might help.
So
do you think we should own our psionic investigations on this at this time? I mean,
I don't think you should send those to the Imperium.
Well, no. I mean,
I know Sarda doesn't want to send
the Imperium knows about psionic shit, and if the worst case scenarios, we show back up and they tell us to take a null drug that'll stop our psionic abilities while we're hanging out. But that's at the end of the adventure. And anything we tell them about the shit we learn on our psionics is stuff they can, help formulate on their end. I mean, it's not like they can tell me I can't fucking read people's minds until I get back. And then I'm old. And I've got clones. So
So
We
you
got
did.
15 million Brosesis clones.
Yes. Yeah, oh God. Oh God. So
Yeah.
so you did learn something. So the samples that you took when you met David Andreich, the space wizard, on Homestead. So those were some of the first samples that you took. The scientists, your biology team has come up. Their answer to most of it is that so the atomics and bioweapons that were used on Homestead 2,000 years ago, a lot of the microorganisms that they're seeing, that's pretty much just considered the norm now. This is the present normal after 2,000 years. But they did isolate some of the what homesteaders call the damp lung. Is a bacteriological infection that causes respiratory illness, and the biological team basically says, we ran some tests, and this thing can be knocked out with just standard antibiotics. It doesn't even take anything special. The biggest problem, of course, with Homestead is that they just don't have access to antibiotics. Maybe if a care package with a crate of penicillin was dropped on the planet, most of those people would have a much better life potential than they currently have. But most of those people are poor, and nobody seems to give a shit about them. Is the general outlook of Homestead.
We can include all that in the report too, right?
Yeah. So Alpha, the planet with the observatory, they did find some very interesting things about the soil samples that you took from Alpha, which was your second encounter with the Deepnight entity. And the interesting part about the soil that they found was that at some point, apparently in the very distant past, some kind of chemical agent was introduced to the soil of that world. It is not a naturally occurring compound. And
whoa, hey, does that coalesce with what we believe happened before? As far as the drawing interference and timeline, could it have been the drawings
yes, possibly. And what they have discovered is that through their simulations is that whatever this compound is, it stunts the growth of the Deepnight entity.
This we need to send back. And we need to make a bunch for ourselves. Spread it all over ourselves. Eat it.
Spray it on you like it's off. Just I'm going camping. Hold on. Fumigate yourself.
That'll definitely be something awesome to do.
So basically, what the biologists tell you is that that the cluster that you had found on Alpha ultimately would have been forced to either go into a hibernation cycle, or it would have died out entirely, because none of the soil on that planet would have provided it with any nutrients, because it is the planet itself is resistant to the fungal growth.
All right, I'm going to definitely take that information and make a copy of it. As far as what we believe happened on that planet, with what got changed in the soil and all that, my intention is to get the information that I can pass it on to this government a little bit on the down low. So maybe they can combat this fungus as it might spread this way.
Okay. Well, and you might also include in your report that you do have the makings of, I wouldn't necessarily call it a vaccine, but it is a treatment. Remember, because you got that from Deepnight Endeavor.
Yeah.
So
I'll pass. Yeah. That needs to all. I thought we already reported that in, though. I mean.
Oh, okay. Right. Oh, okay.
If we haven't, we'll reiterate.
But I mean, now with this new information, you might spend some time putting those two things together. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Do you think this is enough that we might need to go back and do further studies on this soil?
It's too late for you to go back, but I mean, if
is it really? I mean, can the captain? All he's got to do is say, "Let's turn around and go back."
No, that's not an option.
Okay.
It's not his mission.
Yeah, he's got his orders, and it is full steam ahead as fast as possible. Now, the last piece of information, the soil samples that you got from GAR of the melted landscape around the Droin Memorial. They are still baffled by the tech level of whatever did this. It seems, at first glance, like I said, it seems like a fusion torch of some kind, but it leaves no, at least from what they could determine, it left no radiological signs. The other thing about it is it seems that whatever it is that they used, it was the same thing that they used to make the memorial itself. And so whatever tech that they're using or were using at that time was able to not only melt the area, but reshape it into whatever form that they needed.
Would they have preferred we have collected the whole memorial itself for them to study? Would we have gotten more information and we had done that?
So the biologists
if they want to do that, then they can do it from here.
Yeah,
the council or the embassy or whatever could send out a mission.
I'm
not talking to this. I'm talking to our people.
So the biologists, I mean, could they have gotten more information? Possibly, yes. But they also have some very they have very moral and ethical outlooks on that. It's like they're looking at that memorial was created as a loving tribute to this individual, and they're like, this doesn't feel like archaeology or biology. That would feel to us more like grave robbing, and
I hear you.
We don't want to engage in that. I mean, yeah, we could have maybe gotten more information, but none of the scientists on the team, and of course they're not military, so they don't have this mindset of maybe it just hasn't sank in for them yet, but they have the very liberal mindset of there's always got to be another way, and the reality is that the Deepnight entity. And I cannot stress this enough. The reality of the matter is that the Deepnight entity is an extinction level event. Because, if
their clones will have a different attitude, I assure you.
Well, we can make you better, faster, stronger.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Before we leave,
I like that.
Before we leave the Imperial Embassy, I want to try to get them to purchase me 1 or 2 or 5 of these cloning chambers.
So
we're going far out. We're going to need to bring our own people. Surely people are going to die. I can take DNA samples and recreate and retrain a person, over a few years versus.
So you want to talk to you're bringing it to the embassy, saying you think that we need some of these.
That's correct, and I'm hoping anybody with admin skill will do a task change.
Yeah, either admin or diplomacy if you're at the embassy.
Yeah, so anyone with those skills can, if you'd please join in. on this, that would be great.
Well, I got admin 1, advocate 2, and diplomatic 0.
So that admin 1, and what other skill?
Advocate 2 and diplomat 0.
Oh, no, I was asking, meaning Chris,
Well,
like after
admin plus intellect or education, or diplomacy plus. Diplomacy could either be social or intellect.
All right. So yeah, anybody that can help out do that. This is probably important.
Admin is mine. I'm not trained in diplomat, and I don't have a skill chip for it.
There is none.
I started out hurting our cause. Sorry.
So was that an admin check that you made?
That's correct.
Okay. So diplomacy will be at a -1.
I don't think any of us have diplomacy.
Oh, do you
I
not?
have 0. I have 0.
Oh, okay.
So you would be at a -1. Diplomacy plus your choice, either social or intellect.
Social is 1, intellect is 0, so I can end up being 2 deep 0. I get an 11.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about, motherfucking Randy. Damn right.
Okay, so hold on just a moment here. I'm throwing this in here so everybody can see it.
I'm doing a shot for that, Randy.
So this is So this is what the cloning vat is. Evidently, this is what it looks like. It looks a little weird. They describe it as resembling a auto dock, but I have seen other pictures of auto docks, and I've never seen one that looked like this. But anyways, this is a cloning vat, and the embassy. So thanks to basically, Bocephus puts together a. He fills out a paperwork and a requisition request, an Imperial Naval requisition request, and it's it's not like cloning is a verboten science. The Imperium has had cloning available to it since the first Imperium. It's around now. It is one of the reasons why there has been such massive leaps and jumps in medical technology. But
this is amazing. You can make somebody in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll force growth. Right. Right.
And I mean, if you think about it, I can make you in a couple of weeks and do some cybernetic shit and
Well, to give you an idea of what can be done, I mean, this is the extreme end, but General Development Corporation has elite agents, assassins, that they basically are grown from clone to, 20, I want to say 22 years of age. And they force grow them in 2 years, and while they are being grown, they are crush trained. And so basically, they open the clone vat. These individuals step out fully trained and operational and ready to go. That's the extreme end of this.
That's a beautiful thing.
And not only that, but they can, during that growing period, they can put in augmentations and that kind of shit, like a neural link, the whole 9 yards, and it just grows with the clone. And so these guys step out, and you've got cybernetic assassins that are fully trained and ready to go, and in 2 years.
Why wouldn't the Imperium want us to have this technology? It's obviously not military.
It's very, very questionable.
Not military.
It is very questionable. So Bocephus puts together this requisition request, and then he hands it to Randy, and Randy goes and he presents the case to the diplomat at the embassy, and the diplomat kind of looks over the request and is listening to Randy, and basically pulls out a stamp and stamps approved on it. And the diplomat tells you guys that he tells Bocephus and Randolph that so 1.5 million. He says, I would bet that we can get it for cheaper than that. He says, I will put in the request.
If you buy in bulk.
He says, I will put in the request.
If you got us 4 or 5 of them,
at least 2.
He says, I will put in the request, and they will be. It will be delivered to your ship.
Thank you very much. You're an amazing person and an outstanding individual. I'm going to take a shot for you later on when I'm at the bar.
So, there are, of course,
as he pees on the floor.
There are, of course, there are, of course, shuttles that go down to the planet's surface that are ready to take you down to see glorious Corella. And there are a number of different options. I mean, there is like, a package for outdoor enthusiasts. Spend a night
nice.
Camping on Corella. Another one, go on safari, get a, hunt big game, and that
what
kind of thing.
What big game are we hunting?
Well, when they say they have big,
can I bring my Gauss rifle?
Perhaps
with
bigger than that.
They might have bigger shit, man. You might be trying to piss in a pool that's too big for your dang dong.
Yeah,
they might have to use one of their weapons.
Like fun.
So one of the creatures,
I would like that.
One of the creatures, and I don't know what the name of it is off the top of my head, but one of the creatures on Corella it looks like a miniaturized version of a brontosaurus. And
is that a pony?
It isn't a pony, but it looks like I've got a kind of a picture of it. Let's see. Here we go. This is Corella.
Oh my God, it's a brontosaurus.
Right. So that's one of the creatures that you can go hunting. And of course there's fishing and camping and all manner.
Yes.
Bocephus could use a spear gun and get it up from underwater. I'm going to use a pony gun if we can get one.
Right now, I'd like to go ahead and establish that I'm taking a sample of all of the scientific team's DNA. So that way, when my cloning chamber came in, I can replace dead characters to the best of my ability.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Cesari if I can get a big enough firearm.
So they do.
Can we rent them here?
They do. They will supply big game rifles, which is rifle.
Are they slug weapons?
So this one is
a
a bolt-action rifle firing heavy ammunition, sometimes named after local wildlife, such as elephant gun. It has a massive recoil, but the stopping power is impressive. And how the fuck is the actual stats for this?
Is it a big game rifle?
It is. It's on. You can find it on page 145.
Yeah, I'm
looking of Central Supply Catalog. It does 3D plus 3 damage.
200 rage.
Magazine of 5 shots. Very bulky. Really, it only does 3D plus 3. I don't call that impressive firepower. I've had pistols that do that much.
I mean, a Gauss rifle does more.
Right. That kind of feels like an error to me. Huh. Anyways.
So if you're like watching this video right now, you should go ahead and type in the comments, "That's fucked up." Just saying.
So, they will supply big game rifles. And if you want to go on a hunting, fishing, rafting, camping excursion. And they've got 1 night, 2 night. I mean, how many nights do you guys want to be gone?
How many nights can I have?
Well, you're only going to be here for 3 days, so.
So far. Yeah, we have to come up with a reason to keep them here for longer than 3 days.
How about if I just break a leg out there and you can't find me?
You get left, dude. Randy.
Yeah, I get left behind.
Possibly, yeah.
I've got your DNA though.
Don't worry. In a couple of years, you'll be right as rain.
Jack, you gonna come with me? We're gonna go hunting.
He's gonna go hunt, but he's not gonna kill anything. He only kills professionally.
Get down to his underwear and get out his buck knife.
That's right.
Do some hunting.
Well, let's just say he'll be my safety man.
Well, no.
If I miss or don't hit hard enough, he can back me up.
Yeah. He did not say he's against killing anything. He said he doesn't need to. And that is a specific, yeah. All you have to do, Randy, is make him need to kill something.
Well, if I kind of miss, he'll have to help me. Because this thing will squash us.
I mean, the more that Gabe plays Jack, the more I'm envisioning, Brock Sampson from Venture Brothers.
Exactly. These tiny whiteys.
Yes, yeah, where he goes out and has to shave Bigfoot. Come on, what do you mean you didn't know that Bigfoot was a dude? He doesn't have anything that you haven't seen before. Bigfoot is something I haven't seen before. Yeah, you guys take both. So Randolph and Jack are going hunting. What is Sarda doing? I mean, you can go along. It's just an outdoor trip.
I'm not a hunter. I think I'm just hanging out. I want to see the sights more. I'm more interested in like urban sites.
Okay, so they do have one actual. Of course, the starport has a large star town.
Yeah. So I'm interested in museums and then like the local Blockbuster equivalent.
You find a Corellan
TL
red box
Blockbuster.
The Corellan 7-Eleven, and there's a red box kiosk out front, so that you can.
I'm taking my first aid kit, my survival kit, my binoculars, and my hand scanner. And my hand scanner's set to see living things.
Yes. Bocephus, what are you doing on the world?
I think I want to interact with the science community and try to throw late night parties and have as much and pick up somebody, breed with them. If I could impregnate somebody on this world before I leave,
that's your goal on every urban outing is. So
Bocephus, do you are you actually able to impregnate a person, a human?
Hey, that's up to the DM. But if there's a lot of buggers running around, that's because I've been fucking. I can guarantee this: if I don't fuck as I go across the galaxy, there will be no hybrids.
Well, and not only that, but dolphins are kind of like rabbits. Like if they don't get some, they kind of it was a lot like I was when I was 18. They kind of turn into dicks. They are just jerks, like until they get some. But an interesting thing happens. Sarda and Bocephus, you're down in the Star Town, and which is essentially the capital of Corella as well, and you run across not a lot of these things, but you notice that there are a couple, and then you finally run into a procession, and maybe not, maybe.
Are we together coming across this procession?
I would say so, yes, because you're two. There we go.
I'm gonna say now, Sarda doesn't turn fucking Bocephus on. He's looking for a female,
Right.
local.
Well,
and
yeah,
science
and this probably isn't gonna.
Yeah.
This probably isn't gonna
Yeah.
turn anybody on either. But
Well,
so
Bocephus is a freaky motherfucker.
so you run across a procession of sentient aliens that are very peculiar, and they look like this.
I don't
That's
like
pretty
those.
hot. Yeah. What do you think about that, Sarda? Pretty hot, ain't it? You want to creep up behind that? Yeah.
And it looks
I'm good.
it looks like there is some kind of, it's almost like a religious ceremony. And there is, of course, this it's very strange. So there is like this rounded overlook over, kind of like a park area, and this rounded overlook. When you look down, and hundreds of feet down below, you can see the pastoral, perfect countryside that is most of Corella, and you see a couple of these things, and like I said, it's like almost like a religious ceremony. And I will allow Bocephus and Sarda, you can make a recon plus intellect check.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll
Can I
definitely
use-
watch respectfully from the sidelines, and if there's other people that are watching that are human, I'll
No,
Kind of
if she
ask-
gets naked and shakes it, sorry, you got to go for it.
kind of ask.
Yeah.
I'll just ask what's going on, type thing.
So both of you don't. I mean, to you, these all look like slugs that have 12 tentacles and evidently a lot of teeth. But asking one of and you notice that there are several humans there. They are all dressed very nicely, and you learn that some of these people are actually government representatives, and they tell you that so Sardis asks this woman. He says, "What's going on? What is this?"
Yeah, exactly.
And she tells you. She says, she says, "You must be from the, what is that? The Deepnight Revelation. You're offworlders." She says, "These are
Correct.
the Chemli, and the Chemli are a race that are a part of the Corellan League." And she tells you that Chemli, their life cycle begins as a grub called a kuru, and they kind of emerge from a 10 centimeter diameter egg, and they spend 2 standard years basically as unintelligent caterpillars. And once the kuru reaches approximately 1 meter in length, it molts into a pupa, or the Chemli stage. And they have the intelligence of a human or Vargur infant. And that stage persists. They have 12 tentacles. There are six basically on either end. And they mature physically and mentally within 6 years, reaching up to 2 meters in length. And she says that after they actually, as they age, the closer they get to the age of 50 standard years, they start, their hormone levels start to try to push them to go into a chrysalis and go to the final stage called the Kessa. And at the Kessa stage, if they when they come out of the chrysalis as a Kessa, they are basically giant butterflies. They no longer eat. They go out, they lay eggs, and they die. That is the end of their life cycle. And so the Chemli actually have tech level, believe tech level 13 technology. They have developed drugs and medications that
drugs for diseases.
they have developed medications that can hold off the Kessa stage, and so but the older that they get, sooner or later, even with medications, they can't stop it. And so it is it is a blessed event, and this individual, and she points to him, and she says that he is the, what is he called? He is called the Supreme LaRouche, and he is kind of the LaRouche is Chemli for judge, and they have a number of LaRouches in their society, and this particular one is their representative to the Corellan League government, and it is his time. And so on their homeworld, because they have their homeworld, they have like up close to 8 billion inhabitants on their planet. There's 8 billion Chemli on their planet. And so their jungles and forests have kind of receded due to climate change and things of that matter. And this park is specifically designed for this kind of situation. This one tree in this little circular area is where he will go into his chrysalis form, and then he will burst forth as Kessa and fly off and lay his eggs, and then he will die. And then they will elect, the Chemli will elect a new Supreme LaRouche.
How hard would it be to get a part of his DNA?
Well, I mean,
a little cheek swab or something.
You could ask him.
I will. I'll be like, I'll be very respectful about it, and be like, Your Honor, I would like to just do a small cheek swab on you so I could preserve who you are in this moment as we've crossed paths. It's my religion to honor great people in this way.
I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, I'm trying to imagine. Okay, hold on, I'll smile. Yes. Make a persuasion plus social or charm check. Your choice.
I'm going social or charm. I'm going charm.
So an 11. Yeah, he the other Chemli that are there almost seem like offended that you would interrupt this process for this, but he waves his tentacles in a manner of like, everybody calm the fuck down kind of thing. And he tells you, he says, I understand that you are from off-world. Yes, you may take a you may take a DNA sample.
I'll sure as hell take it. I'll take that DNA sample any way he'll let me.
Go ahead and make a medic plus education check. Or intellect. I mean, it's not hard to get a DNA sample. Yeah. Okay, so you've got a really solid DNA sample. And then you kind of, this, he goes over to this, you get this DNA swab, and he goes over to this tree and basically does what, like caterpillars, building this cocoon, and he's like, I can't stop myself, I'm compelled, and he's just spitting out, silk.
I want to try to take a DNA sample of the tree, too.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
He pulls out his little hatchet and
just chop off.
takes a chunk off.
Well, this might be intricate part of me utilizing this DNA to suit my needs.
They may be symbiotic.
By the time we reach the Deepnight entity, I will create a species of people that are far beyond anything we can ever contemplate.
Part dolphin, part tree, part Chemli worm
thing. Psionic.
And its only communication ability is to say, please kill me. I am the fly, kill me. So, We will pick up next week with Jack and Randolph going hunting, and with Serta going to the local museum and learning some very interesting things.
Hitting the bars too.
And of course, I mean,
Bars.
if any decent museum is going to have some microbrews and some decent wine tasting, I mean, that's...
We're gonna go to the bar
or
together.
vintage, whatever.
I'll do my typical thing where you find the security guard working the museum and ask him the places he likes to eat.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
That was always when I would travel. A lot with work. I learned never to ask the front desk because they got kickbacks from restaurants, and so you always tried to find like a security guard. Somebody
don't ask the front desk. Ask the guy who's helping you carry your luggage up to your room.
Ask somebody who's making $10 to $12 an hour,
right?
Where they like to eat, because they'll tell you the local places that are cheap and are good food.
Right, exactly.
At least one of the nights, I have to go party with Sarda.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hell
we're gonna go get fucked up.
All right, so we will pick up with the excursion to Corella and all the fucking that will be going on with Bocephus next week.
Hey, we're gonna breed.
At 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.